Hello, everyone, and welcome back to God of War. Still climbing the mountain, as you do.
Yeah. Uh
So what are we
man,
still in the Dark Elf world?
No, we left that a while ago, dude.
We did.
we're still
Oh, okay. That goes to show how
Are we
much
still in the
attention
house?
I've been playing.
we're still not using the Blades of Chaos, which means we're still at the part of the game where he doesn't have it yet, which means God, this game withholds the Blades of Chaos for so long.
Yes.
Still feels shorter than not
surprised.
having the Morph Ball in Metroid Dread, though.
I'm going. No, I'm going. No, because like you had the slide, and that
Well,
that fulfilled half the function of the morph ball.
So
But
here's the
like,
thing. I think it's good. It was good game design to withhold the morph ball from you for so long because it taught
Same.
you to use the slide, and the slide is freaking awesome. It's just that you're only deprived of the morph ball for like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops when you're playing the game. It just feels like an eternity because you're used to that being like the first thing you get. So it's like, where is it? Where's the morph ball?
Yeah, I
Where did it
suppose.
go? John, where's my morph ball? I'm scared.
I have it. It's with me.
It's with you.
That
Bastard.
is some really high poly snow. I'm just gonna say, or at least like really well textured snow. It's giving me Rise of the Tomb Raider flashbacks.
Is
I
that
need to
the
actually-
second reboot game, or is that the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Second reboot. It's Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Rise of the Tomb Raider has a big old snowy mountain sequence at the very beginning.
You see,
Was it called Rise? Because was it a prequel game?
The whole it's all like a new continuity to begin with, but it's all Lara Croft's new origin story through all three games.
Yeah, but
so-
was Rise a prequel to the definitive Tomb Raider?
No,
I call it
no,
that.
it's a second game. Okay, they did something really weird with the Tomb Raider reboots in that like Tomb Raider 2013 had a really self-contained plot on the island of Yamatai, and then they concluded that plot in an in-between game comic.
what?
And then they started an entirely new plot with some sort of Illuminati group in Rise of the Tomb Raider that only concludes in Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
What?
Yeah, it's awkward.
The title's just also weird to me, too, because whenever you have something that's like Rise of whatever, it usually just feels like that's something that implies that's the bad guy. And just like Rise of the Tomb Raider, it's just like, uh-oh, better beware.
Well, they are.
Lara
they
Croft's
are
coming for
going-
your grandma's precious jewels.
They are going for the idea of Lara Croft as a morally dubious character, which is something that core games did as well. Like, gosh, in Tomb Raider 4, Lara Croft was a bitch. But, like, I think they were kind of like building up to the idea of Lara as like the villain in her own story when they made Rise of the Tomb Raider. But 3 games for an origin story. We could have moved this along a lot faster.
Well, everything has to be an origin story. Like, if you... Oh, God. I didn't really follow a lot of the Daniel Craig James Bonds, but it's just like every single one of them was about his origin in some way or another. And just like, okay, what happened to the guy who just like
I think
did shit?
I think that's partly because they started doing adaptations of the really early James Bonds with Daniel Craig. But,
Oh, okay.
like Casino Royale is literally the first James Bond novel.
Oh, okay.
But like, okay, I just the one thing, the main thing I'll criticize Tomb Raider reboot trilogy for is lack of confidence, because at the end of Tomb Raider 2013, they ended on this fucking beautiful moment where Lara takes Roth's gun and her own gun in her other hand and dual wields them at the final boss, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the moment she becomes the badass we all knew.
She has her Blades of Chaos moment.
Yes, basically. Because she dual wielded pistols in all of the old games. That was her thing, you know? But, like, they take that away from her, like, immediately and go back to telling her origin story after she had this moment that should, by all rights, be the climax of her origin story. And then they spin their wheels on more origin story for 2 straight games after that. And I'm just like,
Guys,
this is so awkward. Jump forward a few years and let her just be a more confident adventurer. You can do the morally dubious stuff more naturally from there anyway, you know? But
Lara Croft, Tomb Raider 7. The true secret behind Lara Croft's origin.
I want like one of the. I know that the series is probably the reboot series is probably done at this point, or at least it's concluded from what you said. I would have liked it like the last game ended with them like surveying a tomb in like the Himalayas, and the last thing they see is like the corpse of the frozen butler from Tomb Raider 3. And it's a revelation that it's
serial
like
killer.
it's like a revelation like this is still set in the original Tomb Raider origin, but it's like a parallel dimension or some other shit.
I mean, that's not
You know
that
what?
out there. Tomb Raider has some dumb shit.
After Tomb Raider Legend with its portal to the world of fucking King Arthur, that wouldn't even be totally like out of the question. But like, okay, I can't help but feel that after the Tomb Raider reboot, they looked at the positive reception for their more human Lara and decided they didn't want to leave it behind just yet because they thought people would like it if it stayed around longer, so they contrived a reason to remain in origin story territory for a couple more games. It just feels like they had a different idea of where they were going with it when they wrote the ending of Tomb Raider 2013, and changed that not for creative reasons, but because they wanted to maintain their critical acclaim. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I'm sorry. Like, and there is an on-topic point for this, and my point is that like lack of confidence is not something I could criticize this God of War of having.
No, this game definitely, like, I think the fact that it's so far removed from the other games in the series kind of goes to show that it knows what it wants to do. And, like, there are nods to the older games, but there's never, like, a moment where, like, it's trying to capture the idea of something else. Or of what it used to be, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it knows what it wants to be, and it's pretty much sticking to its guns to that the entire time. It wants to be less of a no-holds-barred action game and more of a well-rounded adventure game, and I think...
Well, I mean, it's also just it's not as mean-spirited.
That too, but
don't get me wrong. Like you can get there's a sense of dark humor you can get from the previous games, like mean spiritedness. But it like by the third game they went overboard.
Yeah, it was basically Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
To be honest,
no, I think Mortal Kombat had more of a sense of humor though.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying like it falls into that same kind of attitude.
Yeah. That
games tended to have when they were just.
It's like I'm going to cut off your head now.
Why did we murder this guy?
Well, because we only need his head.
He's bounded by that tree from Odin, and he'd rather risk dying here than staying on it for any longer. But he said that if you know someone that knows the old ways of magic, you can resurrect my head, and I can help.
What is it with Kratos and just like stealing people's heads, dude?
If I had a nickel for every time I use someone's head as an item, I'd have 2 nickels.
To be fair, this is like
it isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
It's weird that it happened twice. I think this is the first time in the series proper that it's been offered to him, and not something he just took for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, have you guys, there's a Ace Attorney, cartoon where Phoenix is talking to Maya, and he says something to the effect of, 4 is a disturbing amount of cats to own, let alone murder charges.
But, like, I like this idea, the way it's being presented here, because the way it's being presented here is it's playing with the idea of immortality, which is an interesting story direction to take in a story about gods and deities. Like, what are the limits of immortality? What can you do within those limits? How far can you stretch those limits? And,
Every time I see something regarding immortality in any sort of fantasy novel, it always ends with them just wanting death because they can't take it anymore.
Yeah, it's like it's that philosophical consideration of the concept where, after so much life, you're just going to get tired, and different people would last longer than other different people, but eventually it would catch up to anyone.
Right, I know.
But, like, here we're actually just playing with the mechanics of immortality. Like, I mentioned that in the ending of Mortal Kombat 10 or 11, they chopped the main bad guy's head off and just put it on a table to torture
end
him
of
for
10.
eternity
Yeah.
because he couldn't die. So Raiden just chopped his head off and,
Raiden.
damned him to an eternity of being.
I'm sorry to be that guy, but his name is pronounced Raiden. Raiden's Metal Gear.
It's Ninja
Whatever.
Raiden.
Stupid lightning hat guy.
It's
anyway.
Ninja Raiden from the Mortal Kombat spelled with a C series.
So like, basically the point is they chopped off his head above the vocal cords, so he couldn't even speak, and stuck his head on a table just to simultaneously punish him and make sure he was never a threat again. That's a fucking brilliant ending for an immortal villain, because it says, yeah, there are fates worse than death. You could be a head that's still alive.
I'm on a fucking break. Don't hear me screeching at you whenever you're
I'm on a fucking break. Also, that meat looks fucking delicious.
so you may as well join me.
Clearly, you never own an air fryer.
Oh, god damn it.
This would be an excellent time to go on another tangent. Skyrim has a cooking system, but there's like no reason to use it because the food is fucking useless.
And I'm sure you'll let
Like,
it go.
it
Well, what
does-
does the food do?
It gives you very like piddly amounts of healing. But like, if you want to make healing items, you just make healing potions, that heal actual functional amounts that you can use. But like, to do the cooking, you need to go to like specific cooking pots and have recipes. You don't just experiment with your ingredients. You need to have recipes. At least if I remember from my last time. Essentially, like, there isn't even a cooking skill in the game. It's just something that you can do. So
Do they at least write down all the recipes you make at some point?
Oh yeah, it all just goes into your crafting menu for when you select the cooking pot. All your
Okay.
recipes are over there, and it tells you what you need for them.
Okay, because that's something that I detest about Breath of the Wild, is that the game doesn't keep track of how you make stuff. You just have to kind of remember. And
Oh no, you can select recipe from the inventory, and it shows you what it is. But the actual cooking system is just like, for healing, it doubles the amount of total hearts.
wait,
and then
there's
you throw in your-
are you sure there's there's no list of dishes though in the thing? Like, you
Well,
can't.
to find actual recipes, you have to find like cookbooks or talk to NPCs that tell you how to
Yeah,
make certain.
but I really would have liked, just a list of like, oh, you've made the big heart salad. I would have liked to just have a list of the general ingredients you would need to make
The big heart
salad.
the big heart salad is the easiest one to remember, though. You just throw a hearty radish in the
listen,
pot and cook it.
Look,
Somehow the other grains just materialize around the radish, and you have a full heal item that gives you bonus hearts.
like, I do think it's cool that, like, sometimes you'll walk around and you'll see a poster that has a recipe on it, and then, like, you can copy that to make some of the more elaborate food in the game. But I just really would like to not have to, like, fucking
I just
memorize that
like
shit.
a cooking system that challenges you a little more, because like the cooking system in Breath of the Wild is uber exploitable. Any hearty ingredient you can just throw in a cooking pot by itself and you get a full heal item.
That's it?
Yeah, or like the fucking extra
The sun jumped in.
damage stuff, which is ridiculous.
That's the extra damage stuff, the hearty ingredients.
That's
That the yellow hearts, you mean?
Oh no, the like the ones that increase your attack power.
Oh, the ones that increase your attack power?
Yeah, like those ones are
Chuck a bunch of-
ridiculous in how much of a boost they give you.
Yeah, they kind of are.